Ladies and gentlemen, how you all doing? This is Con Over.
This is Rangru. Hello, hello, hello.
And folks, we're giving you some Division 2 quarterfinal action today here on Vertigo. Rang, who do we have? What are they bringing?
On the left-hand side, in the blue, we have Sotek playing the 3rd Armor Division. And on the right-hand side, in the red, we have Infamous playing the 79th Guards Tank Division.
Alright, so Vertigo right here. Very kind of standard map. We do see a three kind of openings on either side. Interesting thing, and you know what? I'm going to go off. I'm sorry, I'm going to start early here. Even as we have the Eagle kind of coming and flying some high cover, I am not a fan of these military police openings. I know you and I are going to disagree on this. To me, this is the WARNO airsats troop in, but I can't like them. I'm sorry.
They belong in the back line. I understand
Exactly.
with you. You don't like the reserve troops in your fronts.
No, there's a reason they're supposed to be sitting where they are. Eagle coming in very, very quickly and picking off some early juiciness. But not to be outdone. Geez, MiG-31 coming in behind. And no joy in that. Okay.
That's a real problem with using MiG-31s. If you buy a single one, they can never kill anything. You buy two of those bad boys, everything in the air is dead. So we already seen pretty heavy air investment, and of course the town is getting in hot.
It certainly is, especially with that seed missile, actually. Well, they also AKN to him. Just, Papa Stalin's work right there. AH-64 in the meantime, they're going to be engaged with BTRs. Bringing up those Mortar Strelkies. So, Mortar Strelkies, we kind of seen these guys before, of course. Not quite the same type of terrifying we've seen before, but against the military police, I don't know, man. I feel like this is a very, very easy win for them.
I think they're going to be a little bit outnumbered. I think, actually, they got the Redevkas with the satchel charges, so they will actually kick a lot of ass. I also just want to make a quick comment. This replay is a pre-hotfix from Rail Blast Streak, so it really doesn't make that much difference in regards to a lot of the balance, but just to keep that in mind in case anyone notices any point discrepancies.
Exactly. That seems quite fair with that. Now, Abrams engaging at the Resvedka, but the Concourse over here, watch this. 3, 2, 1. Sun's out. Looks like guns might... Oh no, geez, he popped smoke just at the right time. There we go, okay.
Yeah, it's a very lucky initial hit on Abrams getting the side damage. As you see, he's going to be pretty much out of the fight until he can get some R&R, which has given Infamous some very lucrative time to try to get a foothold back into that town, because that opener didn't go well for him.
No, and that's the interesting thing too, is that usually you see a lot more... Abrams does go down eventually, Concourse does get eyes on. But didn't quite go as heavy infantry as you might suspect. I was kind of struck by looking at the way the decks are even kind of set up here. I would like to think that the Soviet infantry would have had a little bit of an earlier kind of benefit there. Geez, A-10 getting engaged like crazy by the Big 31, and somehow Old Venerable over there doesn't even get touched.
Yeah, once again, you really cannot afford to use MiG-31s alone. You need to get both of them out to actually shoot anything down. And you're just kind of playing your hand by ripping it out early.
Does certainly seem to be the case. I wonder if the A-10's going to make any kind of gun run in now that... Nope, I guess not. All right.
Nope. He's just going to chill.
Which I kind of understand. There is still radar engagement down below, but that's not any reason in my mind that you wouldn't try to drop some kind of action down here, but we'll see.
And I just want to take a quick note down south. It is, well, quiet as usual. Both sides usually like to rush alpha, of course. Actually, no one actually getting a CV either. Like we talked about, I believe in our last recast, sometimes getting those +3 sectors off the bat can prove to be very beneficial, because you can bleed quite heavily if you allow your opponent get their +3 zones.
Now, I do want to make actually a call. While you were looking down to the south, unfortunately, A-10 did make a run, and he did take out a T-80U. Unfortunately, true to his namesake, he impacted on that ground and left quite a splash. Kind of surprised, too. So, kind of noticing here that down south, not a lot of investment, but a very well-rounded investment, I would say, between having anti-tank position, having some UAZs, which is some nice kind of suppression. They even bring that Ikla in. So, why is it, though, that both sides seem to be kind of just, fixated on the north?
I think it's just the classic Eugene, game opener of, hey, you see a town, I need you at town. Because usually, I think you can make a very good rush down south if someone was to do a good opener here and try to just catch your opponent by surprise here. But usually, but it's just so risky losing that town, because we see time and time again, you lose a town entirely, you sometimes just lose the match, because it's a pain in the ass to get back in.
It certainly does seem to be the case, but Americans in the meantime, Third Armored, of course, just kind of doing their thing, rushing more infantry to the northern side and deeping in their own command vehicles, so trying to match at least that points bleed coming in from Infamous in the east.
We're seeing a good use of smoke here, mainly just to, I think, cover his infantry from getting shot at by vehicles. But he's going to run into okay, it's like one card of superiors, but as we know, the American infantry, usually a bit more beefier, bit bigger scrods, and of course, many more satchel charges in this engagement, and he's positioned them perfectly deep in the town. So he's modest frankly, he's running coming close. They're gonna have an explosive welcome.
If the actual demo charge is going to reach, because let's be fair here. Again, 150 meters. That is not much.
Or it's not. It's yeah. Just looking on the what's it called, rangefinder tool, you really just appreciate how short 150 meters is in this game, even compared to SD2.
I just really appreciate the rangefinder. I know I said that in a recent cast, but I absolutely freaking adore the addition of that. There were definitely times I think during SD2 where it was like, why aren't my guys engaging? All right, let me pull this back up. Do I have all the ranges memorized? So it's a nice little, length of play here. Sorry, I was watching M113 getting engaged by the BMP. But fascinating nonetheless.
Oh, it's just going to be a pretty slow and steady hold here for Sotek. I mean, of Infamous, pretty much classic Russian style. The infantry ain't great. You're going to have to rely much more on your tanks and IFVs to really be doing damage here.
It kind of operates in a very interesting place, doesn't it? And that you have a couple of really, really heavy, super strong tanks, and you have that one card of T-62s that's been brought in. Nice veterancy, but just more like the Walmart tanks, where they're good for what they are, but don't expect them to win any wars.
Yeah, it's a tank you have at home.
Exactly. Just make sure you change out the batteries every little bit, and yeah, that should be fine.
But Sotek is building an absolute critical mass of infantry here. He must be feeling pretty comfortable with just the amount of engineers he have in this rear line of the town. Any of all of Infamous's advances are just getting pounded. You really should be starting to invest a bit more on artillery and maybe some airstrike, so it's a bit risky if all the F-15s about, to really pummel the town before pushing in.
I think right now what Infamous is just going to do here is that Infamous is just going to kind of try to, let's say, shove and force Sotek to dance to his tune. You can see right now pick up their second kind of territory here. So going to pick up a few points here or there, and by picking up points, it's saying, hey, you want to go and push me out of the town, you go for it, but that's going to cost you objective points down the line. So it's an interesting approach.
Yeah, it's at a very slow and steady map because there's no middle neutral point to fight over. This map can definitely turn into a stagnated slogfest of just back and forth fighting. So really, if you just can outlast your opponent, you can usually do pretty well. And I mean, both decks are pretty, built deep.
Built deep, that's a nice way to put it. Phantom going with HE, he's going after the infantry in the south. Oof, obliterates one superior and then gets obliterated in turn. Yeah, I think the anti-air net over here for Infamous is it's way too good at this point.
Yeah, now he has both MiG-31s out. It was F-15s. They don't want to get anywhere near the front line anymore. Otherwise, they're going to get sniped from pretty much 100 kilometers away, it feels like.
I mean, I get that, but the Chappie over here, the PVAD, I mean, it's not perfect, but it ain't bad. I don't know. Maybe you slap a Stinger up there as well, and that should be more than enough to really keep those MiG-31s at bay.
Yeah, Infamous won't really be able to do any Su-25 strikes here, because it's a pretty heavy anti-aircraft net, but he can at least deter Sotek from going too deep in his lines, as his anti-aircraft net is also pretty built.
Does certainly seem to be that way. We almost had Ito down to the, let's say, central south position, almost able to pick up that supply truck. Looking even further south, we're seeing the beginnings of, let's say, defensive line being formed. If nothing else, that BT are hopefully getting taken out. by the approaching fire team of the law.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised he hasn't decided to do any more offensive BTR sneaky plays down south, because he could get a very nice CV snipe into Foxtrot, yeah. Is this a Jeep CV?
Yes, but the thing is that he doesn't technically know that it's there. Now, this Humvee in the meantime, we should be seeing okay, I thought he had unloaded already, but that... No, I mean, let me rephrase. He should have unloaded a long time ago.
But no. There we go.
Indeed.
It kind of reminded me of PTRS cheese and SD2. You're not as good, even though it had the same bullet.
And they're trying much more quickly with that as well.
Yes. If only the Russians had, yeah. 70 years ago.
120 mils, not firing anymore, which I think is a consequence of, hey, guys, we're running out of ammunition here, which I can respect. I'm right there with you. But just as the AH-64 is starting to get a little bit friskier, which I find equally fascinating here, but no, for some reason backing away. All right, interesting enough.
No, Sotek's in a pretty damn good position in that town. He's managed to effect Infamous from it. Infamous still has that all-important tree line for him to cower into. But, artillery, bombs, it's going to be a pretty quick and easy, push here for Sotek. Especially, well, I think I'm being a bit too easy here, because we do have, like, 2 T-80Us and Heinz in the back line as well.
Yeah, but the T-80Us, wow, jeez, that one supply truck is just losing all of its supply, getting that T-80U back up and running. Good lord. But hey, you know what? I think that makes perfect sense. The T-80U, that's 350 points in investment right there.
It's a big, beefy, and expensive tank.
It absolutely is.
I want to get the finest rations.
That's true, that's true. They get 2 bottles of vodka.
Oh!
Now, kind of equally interesting to me, first of all, we're seeing a lot more Iglas being kind of positioned around the map, so he's, I think, expecting, Infamous that is, he's expecting, I think, a little bit more in the way of maybe another Thunderbolt strike, heck, maybe even bringing that F4 Phantom is going to be brought back in. So I can understand that. I'm not going to say I really think it's the best usage of resources right now, but of course, God Vision being what it is, I mean, a little bit hypocritical for us to say otherwise.
I think it's mainly for dealing with those Apaches. If they decide to do anything sneaky on the flanks, you can ward them off.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. That's fair. But I would have thought that having the AKMs, the OSAs, and heck, even have those, the Heinz over here, the Mi-24s, Gatling gun is not going to be the best thing for it, but you can still at least get, keep them at arm's length, keep them right off the other rotors. I mean, I don't know. But meantime, a couple more BMP2s being brought on and dropping off some more motor Shiroki's. I'm thinking we're going to see another push here pretty soon.
I think so too.
Mortar's out, but I think we're going to see some very, very aggressive here sooner or later.
I just think it's going to run into the same problem once again, is that the Soviets don't have enough infantry, especially CQC infantry, to contest this town. That is a lot of engineers, and bloody hell, they are digging in. And Sotek does have a CV in here, so he's going to be gaining very nice and steady +2, so he can start catching up to Infamous's points.
Well, we do see that kind of force now from Sotek, saying, Infamous, you got to come at me, bro, if you want it. And at the same time, down south, Sotek, the sneaky little crocodile over here is pushing on forwards, picking off some of that Soviet equipment.
Yeah.
What a shame that engineer squad can't do anything from range, though, either. Just getting shot at consistently.
Slow and real, just steady build-ups all over the front line here. I think maybe for Infamous, his best bet is maybe just trying to open up something down south into Delta. Though Sotek does seem prepared, as he has a bloody M1A1 Abrams there, just in case anything frisky does decide to happen. But at this point, especially as like the Soviet tank division with not the best infantry, trying to fight over that infantry-centric town is, I think, just going to be a bloodbath.
So then the play then would suggest to me, anyway, bring in a couple T-62s down south. Maybe, just maybe, you can afford it, bring in a T-80, whether that's, the BV or the 88K. Maybe that's a good idea, bring that down there as well. Unmask the Abrams position and then push with everything else. But for right now, this is starting to be kind of a losing proposition down to the south.
Yeah, like 1A on Abrams, yeah, can pretty much just shut anything down. And you would really need some heavy army to contest as well. Yeah, the problem as well with just pushing town compared to down south is down south you can take advantage of the range advantage. That, you know, all his tanks are bloody ATGMs. Then you have really good IFEs. You need to be playing a bit more out in the open rather than fighting in, you know, geography, which is really to Sotek's advantage here.
Now, Phantom, in the meantime, he's making a run down to the south. He's going to discover that Iglas are still down there. And let's be fair, it's only the one position right now, but it's enough.
It's mainly the MiG-31s here, which is a scary threat. As you see, any plane which comes in will die when those MiG-31s get onto the field.
Oh, that's also very, very true. Same can be said, though, for a lot of that Soviet infantry to the northern side, though, too. We got those Apaches are just obliterating everything. And it's actually, ooh, the Soviets have to be really careful. That was, what, 150 meters, 200 meters? From something that's actually rather important.
Well, the Eagle is going to get a few shots here on the Apache, but it is, well, quite a tanky helicopter. And once again, this is a pre-patch, so he's 125 point Apache rockets, where they're now much more reasonably 150 points.
True. But we're back to about a rough 50-yard line over here. Both sides do have a CP inside that northern command area. South, we're going to see now, Sotek is being a little more aggressive down here, which makes sense. I think this is a perfect opportunity. Sliding back right behind that forest, not a whole lot of visibility, unless you get very, very unlucky.
Yeah, and he really is in the point where he does just need to grab those all-important few 100 points. Of course, in other maps, the points can slide much more heavily to either player's advantage, but on this map, really a few 100 points can make or break a game just because it's so bloody slow to capture points.
One thing I'm actually kind of surprised by is, other than that one mortar, there's been very, very little to commend. Of course, I say that, and I see the Akatsuya starting to engage the 152 normal artillery here, engaging northern side. So I say, surprised we actually haven't seen rocket artillery. We're surprised we haven't seen more investment in artillery. I would feel like that really plays into the Soviet kind of mindset, and I'm a little confused why Infamous doesn't use that to break the stalemate. Because I think that's what we're starting to see right now. We're seeing that stalemate. We're seeing that kind of forced moment.
You are 100% correct. As I completely forgot, they have Buratinos, Khan. Buratinos make a town no longer a town. It makes it a pile of rubble. If he was to just keep Buratino striking up north, you can really leverage those engineers out of that position and then push on through. But instead, he's just kind of investing in more of the direct frontline forces, more infantry, more BMPs, and he's just going to keep hitting a brick wall if he continues like this.
And we are seeing a second field artillery piece. Unfortunately for me, unlike the SD2 position, which for me is just get me as much on-field artillery as possible, I feel like WARNO doesn't work that way. You have to be much more willing to use suppressive material, and I feel like that's something that's missing here from this push. And that's going to be missing here as Sotek just continues to kind of get more and more points out of this. Like, you've got to do something to move Mr. Crocodile out of what he's going on.
Yeah, and Sotek's already doing some light maneuvers down south, moving some fire teams and your favorite infantry, military police around here. And he still has that A1 Abrams down south, which can really leverage quite a lot of firepower. There is some scary ATGMs nearby, but if Infamous tries to put up any of his vehicles down south, it's just going to get one-tapped.
That's certainly true. 155 over here from the Americans trying to engage some of that equipment down south. Luckily, I would say for Infamous, it's probably the best thing Infamous could have done is to bring in an infantry commando as opposed to the vehicle. Because the infantry command has a little bit more kind of sneakiness. So, for the moment, things will go all right. But I feel that's kind of on a nice edge over here.
We're all seeing that slow, I think, transition down south here, as we are seeing both sides invest a bit more. We've got Mi-24 anti-aircraft piece. We're seeing constant smoke as well up north here from Infamous, which I love to see, but once again, he's not doing anything to really rout out those infantry.
Yeah, exactly. And Sotek's fine to kind of chill. Sotek
Yeah.
can just sit here, just, that's cool, man. No big deal for me. Quarterfinals, he's gonna play the long game.
Mm-hmm.
And then, that's something actually that we don't really talk very much about, is that when you're playing best ofs more than just the best of one, whether it's best of 3, best of 5, what have you, you almost want to kind of like mentally exhaust your opponent. And that's something we don't really talk about very often in these games. As you go further and further into each match, well, your opponent's going to start to lose focus. Okay, did I make sure that I called in some more vehicles? Do I have that kind of lingering air power that I haven't used just yet? So
Yeah,
I
it
don't
can
know.
get very emotional.
It is. It certainly can be. Heck, I get emotional over one game just by casting it. So
I get emotional just thinking about playing in tournaments, for real.
yeah. Yeah, that's like that weird constricting heart feeling that you got, and then you realize, did I leave the oven on, or is that just like that, the gas that's leaking through my apartment? It's a nasty thing, man.
Start hallucinating, hearing the voices and the rules. Yeah, it's not a great time.
Oh yeah, exactly. You get Protoss Soccer's voice in the background, just kind of talking to you. Yeah, I got you. I completely understand. But we are at a pure 50-yard line throughout this entire thing, which is actually kind of adorable when you think about it. And geez, come on, where is that? Where is that rocket artillery? That, I feel like that would break the deadlock. You know it. You know everything's right there. A64's Apache's getting hammered in the meantime by the OSA.
Well, Apache is bloody tanky, although also is just really bad at. There we go, finally shoots it down. Only took like 3 to 4 missiles.
It's actually kind of funny to be doing the accuracy calculation on that. You might have hit him with the first one, and then you missed the next 3 of them, and you're like, wait a second. Mathematically, this should not have been happening.
It's like he's playing XCOM.
Exactly. It's been a long time since I did pick that up. 155 in the meantime from the Americans, trying to engage that force over here, and again, neither side really wants to go and get super aggressive. SU-25, we actually might see a perspective run? No.
No, I
Not
think
yet,
that's just
anyway.
to ward off any of those Abrams from pushing up a bit too heavily. But you know what, Khan? I think we could actually tank this 2 times too, considering how stagnant the front line currently is.
Sure, let's do that at 1705 left.
Sounds good?
Alright, yep. And that's really one of those things here, folks, that we want to make sure that when we're looking at this, that we're not really missing a whole lot with it.
And times 2.
But again, yep, times 2 indeed. But both guys over here trying very, very hard to make sure they're not kind of missing anything, not leaving any kind of crazy openings over there for their opponent. And kind of curiously, Sotek, again, true to name, he's a crocodile, man. He's not going to go and kind of rush his way through. He's just going to let him sun himself. I can sit still. You can come to me. Let you make a mistake. So I kind of feel like consistently we are seeing Abrams shifting around. One Abrams over here on T80U takes that out. That's an expensive loss right there.
Yeah, he's managing to get these 2-run runs on these T80Us, which is very good. And you're seeing, I mean, Infamous, he has the smoke, but he just doesn't have the forces behind the smoke. And I really hope to see more fiery smoke at some point. But he is investing. Oh, here we go. He's finally bringing out the Buratino, Khan.
There she is. Alright, the 220s. Yowza. Sorry, I watched as that SU-25 getting absolutely obliterated by just ground fire. T-62s are engaging that Abrams. And like I said, not quite the same quality between the two. But ammo explosion, that could be in... No? Maybe. Yep, there we go.
And then once again, the problem, he kind of just... Oh, he gets a kill, yo. I think he got like a good close-range side shot, yeah. But still, it took heavy losses to those Abrams.
ITOs, though, going to cost more than enough, and GCP does go down.
Oh. That's going to be good.
Yeah.
That's just... That slow, a little bit of points will definitely help Infamous actually catch up.
Here's kind of an interesting thing. I wonder if it makes sense just to kind of go into CP hop. So you have the one CP that's in first cap point, move him east, and the second that the other one gets in there, then you just kind of immediately leap out and kind of continue to rush on forwards. But Soviets, in the meantime, just going to go and just continue to just go to Pound Town on this town.
Yeah. Actually, I think they're starting to make a little bit of a dent here now. I mean, Sotek has been forced to push his infantry back more towards the rear end of the town. But Infamous, I mean, he's bringing in like he's lots of Strackley's and units of 2 or so, but he needs like a big beefy force for him to actually make any decent progress.
That's true. That's true. But the Bertino, in the meantime, he's going to go and start hitting different kind of parts of this complex. And, geez, Apache after Apache going the way of Geronimo over here. And, geez, you got the Engineer Dragons just going to get hammered. Chaparral, not too much better. Jeez. I like that. That made sense to me.
Yeah, he's finally getting some hits onto the town, yeah. But, still, the infantry are mostly alive here. There's still going to have to be quite a lot he will have to break his way through. But he's in a pretty good point advantage now. His extra 200 or so points has really done him some wonders.
That's true for right now. We are seeing a kind of reduced Abrams platoon shifted to the northern side of that. They don't have great line of sight on a whole lot, though, either, so they're going to get shifted back.
Pretty dangerous using tanks that close, especially, well, okay, it does have some recon, yeah, as well.
You say recon, you mean the MPs that are rushing into the forest and get completely and totally rocked by everything? Yes, that's true, technically.
They're gonna police that forest.
Well, they're just gonna walk point and take hits. That's now you see all the Abrams are getting shifted on forwards. He's trying to CP snipe this. He's not going to, but he's trying to.
We're probably going to get to that point in the match, especially in these last 10 minutes or so, where it just comes down to CV snipe. Especially in the southern side, where it's pretty obvious where the enemy CV is. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a snipe or two.
Well, Eagles, in the meantime, the F-15s getting hammered by the MiG-31s. I think they did take out one Su-25.
I mean, another F-15, sorry.
Oh, no, absolutely, yes. Well, one went down in the initial pass. I think due to ground fire, but the MiG-31, I think, also picking them up there in the meantime, too.
We're seeing also continuous heavy investment here from Sotek. Even though he's, taken some heavy rocket hits and losing the air war, he still has a lot of ground forces and a lot of Abrams here.
Which is a solid thing, but at the same time... Is that CV? No, CV? Wow. That BRD is just freaking fearless, man. He's going nowhere. I'm actually quite impressed by that.
He's going to lead from the front line eventually, whether he likes to or not.
That's true, but no, he's going to eventually start digging himself 6 feet under.
Yeah. But notice this is a very effective concert from Sotek. He's finally got some Bradley IFVs, he has the infantry, he has the heavy armor, and Infamous is just kind of, continuing to push his forces in one by one, and they get blapped.
That's true, but Bertino over here is going to continue to kind of go and start burying those dudes 6 feet under. 3, 2, 1, and kasploosh. Take out the Abrams as well, yeah. Still, taking losses, and taking losses, and taking losses.
Yeah, northern side is pretty much going to come into Sotek's control here. Infamous did manage to gain some more points, yeah.
I'm quite surprised by this. Geez, that one Bradley is just a champ.
He's going to get that BRDM, force him off the point.
And with the Dragons, in the meantime, breathing their fire towards that T-80U. Might be able to... Okay. I thought we were going to see a couple of kills with M47s kind of not being very agreeable, all things considered.
Yeah, he's only using the base Dragons, which are pretty crap compared to the Dragon 2.
That may very well be. We are 4 minutes out. Phantom, why think that?
Yeah.
Phantom, dude, what are you doing? Your mission is ground attack. It's not to tangle with those guys up. Oh man, that was a bad call.
Yeah, man,
it's a very bad call.
Blapped. But I think the question is now, will Sotek be able to gain enough points to actually catch up to Infamous? There's 3 minutes left. I think it's going to be tight, especially if Infamous slapping a CV onto the point.
He slapped one on there, but it's a T80, which means if he loses it, first of all, that's 265 points down the drain. I don't know. I don't know. There's still the Abrams that's right there, too, so one more shot from the Abrams, and this is going to be, I think, more than enough. Yep, that's a dead right there. Which means you got to sneak one more CP in there, and I don't think he's going to do it.
Oh.
It's been one BTR, a superior Commonwealth.
There we get into the very desperate, final minute of this match as both sides are just kind of invest in everything to secure this one northern point. I mean, honestly, if this point of Infamous, if he can just get a CV in there for just even 20 seconds or so, I think that should help him, like, quite a lot. I can't do the mental math right now, but I think just the 20 seconds or so will allow Sotek to, or not allow Sotek to gain enough points.
Well, Sotek's going to hold it for another 40 seconds here, and right now, it looks like he's going to be able to do that, because the CP is... Yeah, CP's not going to make it in time. I think we're headed for a draw. Because CP, either you throw him in there and immediately lose him, and you're not going to see a points difference enough. Yeah, this is going to be a negligible points difference. Very negligible.
And the T80's going for the final hurrah.
But I'm not sure we're ready for any kind of cheering on this one. I think that's going to be pretty much all she wrote in this quarterfinal match. So, yep, the score is too close to the opposing score. This makes perfect sense to me. Although, kills versus, deaths over here.
Oh, wow. I'm actually quite surprised by that.
Yeah, an appalling difference, but here's exactly where it happened. Gavrilov, A10, Apache, Scout, like... This guy right here, this is what it is. I don't know that anything from Sotek's Air Force really survived till the end of that match.
Well, it's true. I completely forgot that the air war is a very expensive war, and everything got blapped out the skies.
See, other than that one Concourse and that one, surface-to-air missiles, I mean, that's pretty much right there. Look at the other side. Yeah, Apache doing its thing. Abrams, of course, getting a couple kills here and there, but, that's what Abrams do. And Ito's wall, well, he was a tear down the wall, and this wall said, I'm going to just keep standing. Took out several BMPs, a couple TNT-62, T-80. Yeah. So, what ended up happening over here within?
This was game 2. Even though it's technically a draw, which is also pretty rare to see. In WARNO, Infamous did take the victory for this match, and Infamous should end up going on to the semi-finals. So good job for him. And I think this replay definitely shows that this map is really a battle of just a few hundred points. As you saw, even though Infamous did not do a good job, really attacking that northern town for the majority of the match, he managed to get just enough points for a few CV snipes to get the W.
Yes. Yes, very true. But, any final thoughts there, sir?
Oh.
In that case, folks, come back on Thursday for some more WARNO material in the meantime. Until next time, though, I'm Con Ulrich.
I'm Rangru. Take it easy.